Hello, everybody. Just came from the theater not too long ago after watching Saw 10. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get the details of this review. But first, if you happen to like the content of my YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button below and spread the word to your friends and family. And as per usual, be spoiler free. It is hard to believe that we are in the 10th installment of a franchise that when the first film was released, note the studios, Lionsgate Studios, did not have any type of faith in it whatsoever. It turned out to be a sleeper hit. My biggest regret as far as the franchise is concerned was not watching the first film on the big screen with the audience, because that twist ending is by far one of the greatest twist endings of all time in cinema. I don't care what anybody says, nobody saw that coming. With each sequel that followed, it became more about the focus on the traps and the gore and the violence and the blood rather than the story in and of itself. It's not to say the story wasn't there, because there are memorable characters with each sequel, because that's what I've always enjoyed about the Saw franchise, is the fact that you have interesting characters, the storylines were unique, and the endings were always memorable. So there's always going to be this divisive element as far as the Saw films are concerned. You got some people like myself who love them, and others who don't particularly care for them at all. And I can tell you, just from personal experience, when people saw that there was a Saw 10 poster in the theater, they're like, "Man, another Saw!" They couldn't believe that there was another one coming out. So, and given how horror films, when they venture into the eighth or ninth installment, it's always more about guilty pleasures rather than the interesting aspect of the story itself. We've seen that with Halloween and Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Chucky, Hellraiser. You name it. Each sequel that followed became guilty pleasures as far as over the top, grotesque, slapstick violence is concerned. Saw 10 has Toby Bell returning as Jigsaw, then Shawnee Smith reprising her role as Amanda Young. Jonathan Kramer slash Jigsaw has been given the news that he has inoperable brain cancer, and he has attempted to find a cure for himself in order to live a normal, healthy life for all intents and purposes, given this promise that he will be cured and he will actually have a life to live. Lo and behold, gradually things become unveiled, and he starts utilizing his skills to test certain subjects, given their shady histories with history of one another and with him in general. So what I did appreciate about this film in totality is the fact that it really gave you this broader sense of connecting with Jigsaw on an emotional and mental scale. Whereas the past films, not to say that the connection wasn't there, it's just it was, since it was so focused more on the gore, the violence, and the traps, that you really couldn't understand the method of what Jigsaw was all about. Yeah, the themes and the overall background story was there, but this one really brings it full front. It allows you to fully understand exactly what makes Jigsaw tick, what pushes him to the point of becoming this mythological serial killer. And I happen to love this direction. It's the first time that we got to see Jigsaw more in a protagonist role slash hero rather than eventually the anti-hero slash villain that we become accustomed to throughout the series. Toby Bell does an amazing job as Jigsaw. I mean, you won't find any other actor that is more perfect for the role. Just the simple sound of his voice and his stare sends chills throughout the body. You have Shawnee Smith as Amanda Young. She's always been an underrated actress, and she does a remarkable and amazing job here. She just literally comes back into the role with seamless ease. And as far as the test subjects are concerned, let me go ahead and tell you, there hasn't been a far more group of people that were literally deserving of being in the traps that they were in. And the beautiful thing about this film in overall, excuse me, is how it really is a return to format in terms of the first film. It really is getting more basic as far as the traps are concerned. It's not real. Not to say that the gore isn't there, that there's no blood, that there's no violence, but there's a lot of it. However, it really goes deep back into the basics of what made Saw such a memorable installment. And I have to say, this is probably, at least in my opinion, the best Saw, right next to the first one. Absolutely, by far. And I loved every single second of this film. It gradually builds up to the crescendo of what makes Saw a Saw film. And while the ending in and of itself is a bit abrupt, however, it makes up for it when you see the special scene during the credits, and that really just sold me that this is by far the best Saw film that I have ever watched, right next to the next one. It's more or less of a modern day Seven, in my opinion. Uh, I can't say enough about this film without really going into the spoilers. So I sincerely hope that anyone who is interested in the Saw film, if you're a Saw fan, you're gonna love this. If you're not a Saw fan, you're not particularly gonna care too much for it. However, I do believe that if you give it a shot, you will find something unique and special about it that it might pique some form of curiosity within the viewers subconscious, and they'll be able to they'll get curious and check out all the rest of them because they're all, at least from my perspective, great and memorable films. Despite each film having some sense of decline in quality and here and there, it doesn't take away from just how impressive each of them have been in terms of quality. 'Cause, I mean, none of them as none of them, at least from my point of view, has even I looked at it as being horrible, despite being eight, nine, 10 films. They've all been fairly memorable and entertaining. So I have to say, I give this a two thumbs up, a 10 out of 10. I highly recommend it. It is not for children, so please do not take your young children to watch it. There's a lot of blood and violence and gore and profanity, and just overall, it's a very unique and interesting and special story that allows you to fully connect with the Jigsaw character, as well as the fact that I want to say that I do believe, given the timeline, it takes place within the events of the first and the second film. So just know that going ahead if you have watched the films. Other than that, once again, two thumbs up, 10 out of 10. Highly recommend it. If you have watched it, let me know in the comment section what you thought about it. Let me know on my Facebook as well, and visit my Discord server if you're interested in having a chat with me. That is my review of Saw X, and be on the lookout for the next one. It's going to be on the creator, and I hope you all remain safe, healthy, and take care, and peace out.